That's why, you know what the #1 job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen.
What if the biggest comedian on the planet wasn't a true self-made legend, but a polished product built by people pulling strings behind the scenes? That question shook the internet and had everyone arguing non-stop. After Katt Williams pulled up to Shannon Sharpe's Club Shay Shay, things flipped quick. What started as a heated back and forth suddenly turned into something way deeper. Katt wasn't just throwing shade at Kevin Hart, he was breaking him down step by step, claiming the superstar wasn't the underdog we all thought, but an industry-built creation ready-made for fame. Katt said it straight up.
No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is?
In his eyes, Kevin's rise didn't come from an organic fan base or grinding in rundown comedy spots. He claimed there was no long struggle story, no slow climb, none of that. According to Katt, Kevin rolled into LA with deals already stacked. His own sitcom, movie slots waiting, endorsements lined up before he even proved himself. When Katt asked, "Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year had his own network show and film? What do you think a plant is?" The whole room froze. Those words hit like a shockwave. Fans had always seen Kevin as the guy who outworked everyone, the one who hustled nonstop. But Katt was hinting that Kevin's whole storyline was crafted long before the public even knew him. And that fame came with a price tag of staying in line. Minutes after that interview dropped, Kevin's name was blowing up everywhere, trending across every social platform like wildfire. Kevin didn't clap back with rage. He hit the timeline with promotion, saying, "Gotta get that anger about you, champ," before dropping the link to his new Netflix movie like nothing happened. It was a quiet brush off, but it sparked its own questions. If everything Katt said was nonsense, why not shut it down straight up instead of sliding the convo toward a film plug? That move made people wonder if Kevin was dodging the real topic or reminding everyone he's still locked in, still booked, still part of the machine that keeps him shining.
Go and possibly do research or fact check, and if they do, then great. If they don't, then kudos to that as well. I just don't have the time for it.
Katt's deeper point wasn't about envy, it was about power and control. He claimed that for 5 whole years, every major movie that landed on Kevin's desk had been offered to him first. According to Katt, he turned those roles down because the scripts pushed him into characters he felt didn't match his personal boundaries or the image he wanted to keep. He said those same projects were then passed to Kevin without a single change. Katt broke it down like it was a choice between standing on your principles or playing along. He painted it as the difference between integrity and compliance, like the industry rewards the person who just goes along with the plan instead of the one who questions it. His message hit hard. That fame in Hollywood isn't only about talent, it's also about who's willing to play the game. And those claims tapped into a conversation that's been around way longer than this beef. The idea of Hollywood gatekeepers. Ice Cube talked about them too, calling out the hidden circle that decides who moves up and who gets boxed in. Cube said these gatekeepers put rails around you whenever you try to step outside the lane they picked for you. Katt's claims made it sound like Kevin wasn't just accepted by that hidden Hollywood circle. He'd become one of their prized creations. If any of that were real, it would explain how a comedian from Philly jumped past the usual grind and turned into a $450 million powerhouse, while others with just as much talent, from Monique to Dave, had to fight nonstop just to keep control of their own work.
If there's brilliance in that, then I'm appreciative to that, and I'm trying to be a brilliant person, not a brilliant comedian.
And things started looking even wilder once Kevin's past legal and personal drama popped back up right when these new accusations were flying. In late 2023, Kevin filed a lawsuit against YouTuber Tasha K, saying she tried to extort him. Court papers claimed she demanded $250,000 to block an interview with Kevin's former assistant, Misha Shakes. Even though she had signed an NDA when she worked for him, Misha went public anyway, making claims about cheating, gambling issues, and a situation involving a recorded moment that she said put Kevin in a bad light. The interview dropped on December 22nd after Kevin refused to pay anything, and just hours later, his lawyers hit back calling everything she said false and damaging. But by then, the internet had already gone wild. For people watching the situation unfold, Kevin's lawsuit didn't look like some random dispute. It looked like part of a bigger plan to shut down anyone trying to flip the narrative on him. Folks close to the case said those cease and desist letters came quick and powerful, almost like there was a whole network set up to keep trouble from spinning out of control. Kevin had run this same play before. Back in 2017, when that Las Vegas situation hit the internet and a private video of him with another woman was reportedly used in a huge blackmail attempt, he jumped online fast with a filmed apology saying he made a bad error in judgment. That move made him look human, but it also kept him in control of the story before anyone else could twist it.
Bad error in judgment and put myself in an environment where only bad things can happen, and they did. And in doing that, I know that I'm gonna.
And when you stack all these moments together, the extortion case, the former assistant's claims, the long, quiet cheating situation his wife later talked about in their Netflix doc, it all starts looking like the same pattern showing up again and again. Every time something threatens the polished image, a wall of legal muscle and a clean PR sweep shows up instantly to patch it up. Kevin's public narrative always stays untouched. But like Katt pointed out, power that strong doesn't appear out the blue. Somebody has to back it, protect it, and decide it's worth keeping safe. Katt even compared Kevin's silence on industry exploitation to the bigger issue of how Hollywood wants comedians to stay in line. He talked about how certain roles were handed out only if performers agreed to act in ways that kept old stereotypes alive, what he called step and fetch it type characters, built on caricature instead of real expression. Katt said he refused those parts, and in his version of events, that choice cost him almost everything.
I want the Katt Williams that you see in the movie. I want that to be the same dude you see at the gas station. That's what I.
Meanwhile, Kevin became the studio's go-to pick, the safe, bankable comedian who would deliver laughs without shaking the system. Whether that's fair or not is up for debate, but the timing is wild. From the early days after Soul Plane to blockbuster hits like Jumanji, Kevin's rise looked smooth. Almost too smooth. In an industry known for grinding people down until they disappear, the numbers tell a wild story. Katt Williams, a veteran who's been on stages longer than most comics have been alive, is reported to be worth around $2 million. Meanwhile, Kevin, who once opened for him, sits on hundreds of millions from movies, brand deals, and massive arena tours. That gap hits hard. Katt asked the same thing plenty of folks whisper: can a comedian climb that high, that fast, without some serious power clearing the path? It sounds like a conspiracy until you remember Ice Cube's warning. He said there are people who make sure you stay in your lane and put up a gate when you reach too far. So what if Kevin's lane wasn't chosen by him at all, but assigned to him? Then comes the way Kevin's image always bounces back. His team knows how to flip every situation into something polished. Every controversy gets spun into content. Every mistake becomes a motivational moment. When his old tweets resurfaced in 2018 and caused him to step down from hosting the Oscars, the whole thing got reworked into apology tours and his Netflix doc Don't This Up, where he talked about growing as a person. Everything always lands on redemption. But that shiny comeback story is exactly what makes Katt's claims so unsettling. Because if studios and powerful circles rush in to clean things up every time Kevin slips, then what happens when the issue isn't just personal choices, but the machine behind him?
It's very clear. I want to make it very clear. Katt Williams is an amazing, talented comedian, which is why I'm so frustrated.
By early 2024, fans were split down the middle. Some said Katt was being bitter, a gifted comedian held back by his own unpredictable behavior. Others said he was the only one speaking real truths out loud, the only one bold enough to question whether certain careers are too perfect to be natural. Even major outlets like The Rap and Vulture jumped in to fact-check. They confirmed that Kevin and Chris Rock really had sold out their joint tour dates. But those little corrections didn't wipe away the bigger suspicion. The debate stopped being about whether Kevin sold tickets and shifted to whether he ever actually needed to. More stories from Kevin's old staff started popping up on smaller gossip pages. Nothing confirmed, but definitely stirring the pot. People were talking about private jet workers turning into companions, rumors about heavy gambling runs in Vegas, and quiet whispers about behind-the-scenes deals with powerful producers. None of these claims have been proven, but the fact that they kept showing up from unrelated places is what made folks pay attention. All these stories paint a picture of a man surrounded by people who make sure nothing too damaging ever hits the spotlight, almost like he's protected from every angle. But under all that noise, a bigger and more dangerous question started bubbling up. If Kevin really is, as Katt Williams suggests, being controlled, then who's actually pulling the strings? Who gains from keeping him untouchable while voices like Katt struggle just to stay booked and funded? Because every time Kevin's image starts shaking, Hollywood seems to lock arms around him. And every time a scandal creeps up, someone with power steps in and wipes the board clean. And if that's how the game works, then what happens when that system finally starts cracking? What happens when the so-called puppet gets tired of the show and reaches for the strings himself? Kevin didn't just sue Tasha K to shut down her claims. He also went after his former assistant for breaking her contract, moving like the information itself was a legal offense. But here's the thing about lawsuits. They don't erase anything. They just make people wonder even more. Every new filing, every letter from his lawyers only made the whole situation feel deeper and more mysterious. Like there was something he was trying extremely hard to keep buried. It felt like one more attempt to stop the public from spotting the cracks in the empire Kevin built on clean jokes and family man vibes. In the court papers, Kevin accused both Tasha K and his former employee of pushing untrue stories. Things about gambling losses, private situations, and a recording that supposedly put him in a tough spot. But if all of it was really fake, why bring more attention to it through lawsuits? People inside the industry whispered that the whole move backfired the second the lawsuit hit the news. The interview he was trying to block turned into a viral storm. Clips of his ex-assistant talking about alleged infidelity and money issues were everywhere, flying across timelines faster than his legal team could send out takedown notices. For the first time, it felt like the gates protecting Kevin Hart's image had cracked open. The difference between the Kevin we see on the internet, loyal husband, family first, motivational boss, and the version showing up in court papers and gossip reports kept getting harder to ignore. Rumors about private jet attendants, fancy hotel situations, and wild poker games painted a whole different picture, one that looked nothing like his polished brand. Even his wife, Eniku, talked about learning of his 2017 mistake through a direct message in his own Netflix docuseries, sharing how shattered she felt while she was pregnant. We saw her tears, we heard his apologies, and yet here we are, years later, with new claims popping up from someone who used to be inside his circle. Katt Williams didn't just hint that Kevin Hart might be influenced by Hollywood. He pushed the idea that the whole circle around him moves like a closed-off network, where only certain people get real access. According to Katt, names like Steve Harvey and Tyler Perry aren't random players in the background. In his view, they're part of a system that rewards the ones who stay quiet and makes life harder for anyone who speaks up. He said these entertainers share secrets and claim their careers stay shining because they never challenge the people running things. And suddenly, Kevin defending Tiffany Haddish years ago, right after Katt questioned her talent, looked different to a lot of folks. To some, it started looking less like loyalty and more like sticking to the script, protecting chosen names, guarding investments, and keeping the machine running smooth. And when you look back at Kevin's 2018 Oscar situation, the pattern feels even clearer to some observers. Those old tweets resurfaced, and within days, he stepped down from hosting. He said it was his choice, but the speed had people thinking there might have been pressure behind the scenes. Reports at the time claimed he was pushed to apologize, he didn't want to, and within hours, the Academy showed where they stood.
I caught cheating in Vegas.
Hey, brother,
Mr.
listen.
Irresponsible.
It's beyond irresponsible.
Only after that did Kevin issue a public apology and start rebuilding his image. People watching closely said it looked like a warning from the same folks who boosted his career, not just reminding him of old mistakes, but reminding him who had the real power. And behind all the smiles, motivational posts, and brand deals, some think we're seeing a man boxed in on all sides. Every apology, every lawsuit, every partnership feels like it carries the same message: stay in position. Some even wonder if the lawsuits are less about clearing his name and more about buying time, keeping the conversation controlled until he figures out his next move. The more you look at the timeline, the easier it is to see why people think Kevin might be racing the clock. Maybe against exposure, maybe against losing the control he worked so hard to keep if certain gatekeepers decide he's no longer a priority. And here's the wild part. If Kevin really was just a puppet, like some claim, he wouldn't need to fight this hard at all. If Kevin was really as protected as people claim, he could have stayed quiet and let the system shield him like it supposedly has for years. So why file lawsuits? Why bring extra heat to an interview most folks hadn't even watched yet? And why drop those cryptic videos talking about bad judgment instead of letting a PR team handle the cleanup? Some people started thinking, maybe this isn't loyalty at all, maybe it's panic. Maybe it's the reaction of someone realizing that all the success he's stacked might not feel fully in his control anymore. Hollywood has shown us this pattern before. Breakdowns disguised as grind, big smiles masking private burnout. When Kevin hurt himself last year and went viral saying he could barely move, some folks took it as a sign, almost like a metaphor of a performer who pushed until his body tapped out. Then add the lawsuits, the leaked interviews, the old remarks resurfacing. Suddenly it doesn't look like just a celebrity under pressure. It starts looking like someone stuck between handlers, image builders, and his own conscience pulling in different directions. He's suing, apologizing, promoting, denying, everything happening at the same time. That doesn't look like control. It looks like survival. Meanwhile, Katt Williams' words keep bouncing back online. For 5 years, every movie Kevin did was on my desk first. If even a piece of that is real, then this isn't about beef anymore. It starts sounding like an assembly line where one comedian turns down roles he felt didn't fit him, and another steps in and becomes the industry's go-to face. Katt said he passed on parts he felt were demeaning. Kevin took them and turned into Hollywood's favorite brand name. And that whole idea, visibility over integrity, is what keeps people pushing the theory that Kevin was chosen by the machine. And when you really study the timeline, the quick rise, the perfect timing of his brand deals, the way controversies seem to get cleaned up almost before they fully blow up, it's no surprise that people keep asking questions. The silence from people like Cedric the Entertainer, Steve Harvey, and Tyler Perry hasn't gone unnoticed. They've only dropped quick denials, nothing more, and some fans think that kind of quiet usually comes from folks who know how fast one wrong sentence can wreck years of work. But that same silence keeps the rumors spinning, making people wonder if there's something bigger being protected. Kevin staying loyal to the same circles, even after Katt Williams called him out, makes some think he knows exactly where the real power sits and what happens if you push against it. And lately, Kevin's energy online feels different. The jokes look stiff, the posts feel defensive, and the lawsuit against Tasha K came off like a warning shot to anyone else thinking about speaking up. But trouble with trying to shut things down is that it only makes more people pay attention. Kevin's pattern has become familiar. Deny, apologize, pivot, repeat. When you zoom out and look at everything at once, the lawsuits, the leaked stories, the public slip-ups, it starts feeling like things are slowly slipping out of his hands. Someone who once looked untouchable suddenly has old co-workers, old friends, and other comedians all circling the same idea Katt said out loud. Not that Kevin's fame isn't earned, but that maybe staying on top required a whole lot of compliance to keep the machine happy. And behind all the smiles, some wonder if the real Kevin Hart is getting tired of carrying all that pressure. So now the real question hits. Does Kevin double down, stack more lawyers, and keep everything sealed tight? Or does he finally step out of the machine and speak on what really happens behind those studio walls? Because if Katt Williams is even half right, then Kevin isn't just guarding a career. He's guarding a whole system that lifted him up. And systems like that always want something back eventually. One thing's clear, Hollywood gatekeepers usually stay winning. But for the first time, people are asking how much Kevin is willing to risk before he decides to push back for real. Do you think he'll ever come clean and tell his full story, or has the contract run too deep to escape now? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who follows the game closely. I appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.